Bucket Podcast with your hosts, Krystle Matar and Michael R Fletcher. Now sit back and prepare to be entertained.
No.
Sound weird. Greetings and welcome back to the Dripping Bucket Podcast. Today we are joined by Jeff Brown, artist, illustrator. He's done work for Tad Williams, The Dragon Boat Chair, Three Body Problem, and honestly, if you look through his webpage, it's freaking insane. I love all of these. And Jeff is, I believe you're currently working with the folks at Broken Binding, doing special editions with them. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Sweet. I didn't make that up. That's awesome.
Are you like on a retainer with them at this point, where it's just like they pay you an annual salary? Actually, I probably shouldn't make you talk about
that's fine. Yeah, it's a 7 figures. It's no big deal. Yeah. No. They actually did offer that, but I said yes and no. Like, I want to. We're going to be working together a lot, but I there's this weird thing. I mean, that I just don't like salaries because of I get lazy after that, and and then it's like, well, I'm already getting paid, and I don't know. I just really like the project based payment, so I'm just stuck with that. But I said, I'm like, they've kind of got me booked for the foreseeable future. So.
And they're lucky because you're putting out some incredible stuff.
Oh, thank you.
And I think like it's so beautiful, but seeing it in person, like in those prints that you had with you at Glasgow, was like, holy shit. I don't know why it feels different to hold that in my hand and see it, but the level of detail maybe carries a little bit easier on a big print.
I love, you get some fantasy art, and when it, like a book cover, and when it works, when you've blown it up to 2 feet by 3 feet, like done it on stretched canvas, like, that's good shit. That makes me happy.
Yeah, that's the Jeff Brown shit there. Like and you don't have just the 6x9, you have the full wrap, so it's a big horizontal poster. Yeah. So I guess I should backtrack a bit, and like, for those of us that aren't paying super close attention to special editions, it feels like you came out of nowhere, right? Where it's like all of a sudden you're the guy on the scene. But if I know anything about art, that came out of nowhere represents like a long slog of trying to break in. So I'm just curious a little bit about like how you broke in as this Titan illustrator.
Where have you been all our lives?
We needed you.
I've been doing indie book covers for like 10 years now. I started in it would have been January 2015, so just 10 years next month, doing that pretty much exclusively.
Do you remember off the top of your head what your first one was?
No, I mean, I started doing a bunch at the same time, and there was the thing is. So the thing is, I think there's a few different. I wonder. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, but I feel like there's a few different categories that you find in self-publishing, or like different, I don't know, echo chambers almost.
Yes.
So there's a lot. The majority of my clients have been in the one of, it's like, I'm an engineer or something like that, and I made a bunch of money. I've been writing this book for the past 12 years. And I kind of just wanted to get it out there.
Interesting.
And then not put any effort into marketing after that. So it just kind of sits there and doesn't go anywhere. So I've done so many, probably hundreds of covers that are just kind of sitting there unheard of.
Great group, because they actually have jobs.
Yeah, they have money.
Whereas the rest of us, like, we don't have a job.
Yeah.
But we also don't have money.
We hustle to sell our books, but we cannot afford you, which is probably why we didn't know you were around for the longest time. That's interesting, and you are right that there's like bubbles of community, which does explain why I hadn't noticed your art before, because that's not my bubble. So I just did not even know until you broke in with the broken binding.
Yeah, well, I mean, so that's part of it. The other part is just, I guess the other part I was involved in is a lot of like the whole like Michael Anderle. I was working for him a lot. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I have not, man.
See, that shows how much of a bubble, because he's like a
he's
multi-millionaire from his company. Yeah.
Wow.
They basically, have you heard of the whole 20 books to 50K group?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So he's the one who started that.
Okay. Yep. That does make sense.
So I've been working with them for years and years, as doing branding for them, and then doing illustration a bit, and all that kind of stuff. So lots and lots of covers with that, and I mean lots of photo based covers as well. So it's not like I'm doing custom illustration for all that. So a lot of it you probably wouldn't recognize necessarily as mine.
That's interesting.
A lot of my covers, I mean, I've just improved also. So that's probably a lot of it I would rather not show because it's old and I don't like it anymore.
Oh no. That must be kind of a cool feeling. Like once you sidestep the I don't like it. It must be a really cool feeling to be able to look back and see your progression.
Yeah.
Because right now, I find the most striking thing about your style is how well you're able to impart a sense of scale. Like the one I think you had prints of it. It was like a person standing up above a city, and she's we're looking down with her at the city, spread out, and it's just you could feel how crowded that city was, even though it was kind of far away. And I'm wondering, has that always been a style that you were drawn to, or did it evolve?
No, that's always been a big interest of mine, is doing that epic scale. Right from when I started doing art, that was kind of a thing I love doing. So that's always been something I've been drawn to. It's not something I've always been asked to do. I think I've kind of come back to that when I started doing art professionally in 2014. I was doing sort of big scale cityscapes for this one board game, and
cool.
that was kind of the whole thing back then, which is, so now I'm kind of going back to that, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, so
it's cool.
You're actually something crawling around in your ceiling there.
Yeah.
My wife is upstairs and she's juggling furniture or something.
Oh,
what's going on.
I feel like we're just gonna have all of a sudden she's just gonna crash through the ceiling.
That would be awesome. It's honey, you're on the podcast. I was thinking, so a new writer, someone you've never worked with before, discovers you, I don't know, through a shitty podcast or something. What is your process for working with them? Where do you like to start? How do you like to sort of proceed from that? Let's make a book baby sort of stage.
Yeah. So usually people find I actually haven't really got into social media much until this year. So most people have just found me through Google search. Honestly, has been the biggest place.
Interesting.
So Google search or Readsy. I'm on Readsy, so I get a fair amount of clients from there. And
you must have excellent SEO, which impresses the hell out of me because your name isn't particularly
no, I got
unique.
The coolest SEO thing ever, which I'm going to brag about, is when you if you type in epic fantasy book cover in images, the first thing to pop up or the second thing will say Jeff Brown.
Nice.
And that's the only name in there. The rest of them is epic fantasy book cover, it'll say castle or what, a dragon or stuff, and then it'll say Jeff Brown, right by dragon.
Good
and
for you.
Yeah, so somehow my SEO is really good. I haven't really tried for that, but
somehow just lucky.
There's not a lot of people doing, I guess, full epic fantasy book covers though. There's illustrators and there's designers, but there's nobody who's doing custom illustration and typography at the same time, or very few people that are doing that.
Oh, so you're doing the typography too?
Yeah, I do all the typography.
Wow, dude.
On my website, at least.
Oh shit! All right.
So it's awesome. The full package. Yeah. So everything that I've done for any of the covers I've done for Broken Binding, where I've done the illustration,
those gorgeous ones right over your head.
Yeah. I did like Dragon Bones Hair, and I did the Silver Blood Promise. I did gorgeous. The typography as well for those.
Okay. So let's talk about
we gotta get back to the question though.
yeah. There was a question before I interrupted.
So I guess how people how people find me is so usually through Google search or something like that, and then they come to my website, and through a contact form, I'll kind of talk through the project and see if it's a good fit, and then I'll just do it like a $50 deposit just to kind of put a pencil in the spot. Yeah. And then I like to start all my projects with a Zoom call. So I actually I'll basically start with we get on a Zoom call, and I go through I'll get to know the book a bit. Then I'll go through kind of my I don't know what you'd call it, my explanation of how I get to the best possible cover for whatever the book is. Like going through the marketing side of things, what kind of things work and what don't. And then we'll get into any ideas they have, and you can do some brainstorming and come up with an idea together. Because a lot of times there's like sometimes an author will come to me and have a great idea for the cover right away, but most of the time that doesn't happen.
Not me. Yeah. I do the words. I can do the words. If you light a fire under my ass, I can even write a synopsis of my own books. But as soon as it comes down to trying to imagine what would make the right cover, it's I don't know. It's a book. It should have something, right? So it's cool to hear that you're good at meeting us in our ineptitude and then carrying us over.
Sounds like a tagline. I will meet you in your ineptitude.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I had this one author come to me this one time, and it was earlier this year, and they said they wanted this scene illustrated from the book that was the most important scene in the book, where the character meets their father, I think, and it was kind of like a confrontation because they're on opposite sides, and they. I was like, okay, well, where does the scene take place? Well, it's in this really dark stone room, and there's no real light coming into the room that much, so that might be difficult. Like, okay, well, how big is this room? Well, it's about 20 feet by 20 feet. Is there anything in the room? No, not really. Just kind of a stone room. Like, okay, well, what are they like? What are they wearing? Oh, just normal medieval travel clothes. Like, do they have any weapons? No, they don't have any weapons there. So it's like, well, this might not be the most interesting illustration. I should have just sent a black canvas back.
Two people in a dark.
There's no light.
Vague silhouette. Yeah.
So we went with something else. So I was able to convince them to something else, which I find a lot of times when I used to do just everything through email, it would be more difficult to do that because it's hard to convince somebody that their idea is bad through email.
Yeah.
But when you can see your bowling eyes and everything, and you're like,
that's stupid. Don't you even think? It's a lot easier when you're on the call, and then I'll explain. Usually, I'll explain all my thinking behind how to get to the coolest cover, and then they'll be like, on their own, they'll be like, oh, well, my idea is not that good then.
One thing that I've learned is that if you have to have read the book to understand why the cover is cool, it's not a good cover. The cover has to be cool with no extra context of what happens.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I like to say. That's the first thing I say. Exactly that is the cover is not for me as the illustrator. It's not just I want to do the cool thing that I feel like doing. It's not for you as the author of I have this important scene that I would like to see illustrated.
Yeah.
It can be that, but that's not the priority. And it's not, the tricky thing is it's not for your readers.
Yep.
It's for your potential readers.
Yeah, it's for
the random
scrolling.
The random guy. Yeah, the guy scrolling on Amazon, like, oh, what am I going to get on? Like, see what catches my attention. And that's who you're trying to market it towards. And so they don't care about your characters. They don't care about your setting. They're just looking for something cool. They want to understand. So they want it's got to catch their eye. then they have to completely understand the genre. They're not confused. They're not like, oh, is this post-apocalyptic? Is this sci-fi? Is this like romance? There's no, it's very, if it's epic fantasy, you want to be clear it's epic fantasy. If it's whatever genre it is, you don't want to be confusing people with that. I mean, with traditional published books, they have the ability to do that, and I can't stand it. But they put covers on there that it's like, what genre is this? I have no idea. Unless you have context. But with self-published, we don't have the luxury of doing that on Amazon. It's got to be super clear immediately, and then it's got to be. I said so. A competent cover will do that, where it's like, I'll look at it, understand what it is, like, oh yeah, that looks like something I might want to look at, and then a great cover will go the next step of, that's freaking awesome. I need to get that.
Yeah, I need that. I need that in my life immediately. No questions asked. Yeah, and that must be quite a skill that you've been honing over 10 some odd years.
Yeah, well, through mostly lots of mistakes is the way. Well, but the good thing about having done it for the past 10 years is like of mistakes that people have paid me for the whole way through.
There's gonna be a list of like readers coming to your door like, hey, am I a mistake?
Yeah, they're like, well,
sorry, Jeff.
And it's not like there's a lot of covers I wouldn't want to show now in my portfolio, and they're still decent marketable covers or good marketable covers, but it's like my skill has increased over the years, so there's some stuff that it's like, it's a good marketable cover, but it's not up to my current standard.
And it's probably a crummy feeling, but at the same time it's important to be hungry like that, like even though you've clearly come a long way and you're landing some really amazing jobs, you can't let up. You gotta
it's important.
Demand yourself.
I feel like talking to a lot of artists, and I think seeing artists in all kinds of art, including writing, including visual art, including music, and anything like that. A lot of times when people start to make money with it, they kind of just stagnate and do what they've been doing to work. And it just kind of like, well, I did this and it worked, so I'll just keep doing it. But the thing is, it gets worse when you do that, because once you start just doing what's been working, you fall into the rut of like, when you did something cool and creative the first time, there's a certain energy to it. And then if you just try to repeat that, you lose that energy and that vitality. And so I find that's a thing I fell into multiple times throughout my career so far. And I always have to try to keep pulling myself out of that and falling in love with creating art again, just for the sake of doing it, and not just trying to see it as a job, because when you just see it as a job, it loses its soul. And when art loses its soul, it's just not.
Why are you?
I mean, what's the point?
It's such a painful thing to do. In the first place. So why keep plugging away at it if it's not? If it's not magic. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, if I'm not loving the art, then I really might as well go get an actual real job and get paid better. So, what's your how do you work? What's your sort of preferred medium? How do you actually create?
It's all digital right now. I mean, I'd love to do some actual painting. It just takes so much longer to do. So
I saw somewhere you said to somebody that you know how to do oil painting, but mixing the colors is such a pain in the ass that you don't anymore.
Well, it's just it's like messy, and there's paints you got to mix, and you can't like undo it. Like I've been working so much digitally that this is a few years ago, and I started drawing on paper at my computer desk, and so I was just sitting over here. I'm drawing, and I go Control Z. And wait, I just like on my desk, and it was just like a reflex, and it's like, why is it not working? And it took me like 3 seconds to like. The computer's slow.
Fucking reality.
Oh man, that is so relatable. Because Fletcher and I both sometimes write by hand because it's like it just accesses a different part of your brain.
Yeah.
Especially on something like if you're stuck or Fletcher, you're doing something new right now.
Yeah.
But some of those shorthands of like being able to copy paste and move stuff around.
Yeah.
And,
backspace. No.
Yeah. We're spoiled with technology, and then we're kind of doomed without it. If we pick up a pen.
That limitation is awesome at the same time. Like I love that I can't go back and fix something. It forces me to sort of keep going. I end up getting so much more done handwriting than I would sitting at a computer, because like there is no like, oh, maybe I should move this paragraph over there, or that sentence is a little awkward. Let's do it. It's like, fuck it, I'll fix it later. Let's keep going.
Yeah, there's something to the limitation of that where you can't go back. I think I've tried to include that into my process more and more of making it less digital and more. So I'm using less, like in Photoshop, using less layers and using less effects and things like that, and just trying to like I've moved, especially this year, I've just moved to just painting and just like using very few brushes and not using photos, not using 3D as much, and just kind of just getting it out there. If instead of erasing, painting on top of it. So a more traditional way of doing things. Obviously, I don't do that fully, and I still move things around, cut pieces off, and rotate and all that kind of stuff. But trying to do that more helps, I think, to get that kind of that life back into it, I guess.
Yeah, and just kind of honoring, where the skill came from, even as you take advantage of what technology can do.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
So what projects are you working on like right now? What are you sort of
are you allowed
excited
to tell us?
about and excited to share with people? If you're allowed to talk about it.
I mean, there's a couple with Broken Binding I'm really excited about. I can't share. The one I can is I'm doing all of the series for Aragon right now.
Yeah, I saw that on your feed. I totally lost my train of thought. So you're like, you started on it, but it must be coming along in the process if you're allowed to be showing off the the sketches.
We showed book one. Or something for book one. So I'm doing the other ones right now.
That's really cool. So are you a Aragon reader? Is that one of your?
Yeah, I mean, I read them as a kid or a teenager for sure. So
it seems a lot of people.
I haven't read that. I've forgotten a lot of it. I remember loving them back then. So I haven't it was a really kind of sudden project. So didn't get the chance to read them before it, but.
I mean, having read them as a kid, I think counts. And in some way, that's almost more. I don't know. There's something about those books that we got to read at a certain age, with our brains in a certain state, that I think they do more to us when we're young.
Yeah.
So having read it as a kid, it must have been really cool to have that project come to you now.
I think you're less critical as a kid almost.
Yeah.
You just accept the magic of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like your mind is so spongy that like it can really blow your mind at that age. Yeah. Whereas now we're like, bills,
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, that doesn't make sense. That's not how taxes work. Any of these stupid things that
you don't think through. I think there's a cool state of being when reading that is just. I feel like a lot of people lose as adults, and it's good to try to get, which is just that state of wonder, and just accepting the story instead of trying to look for plot holes and exactly. When you're looking for plot holes and judging, why did the author do this? I think like that to me, like a lot of people enjoy that side of things, like with movies as well. It's like what it's like. Well, I didn't like. If people go watch a movie and be like, "Oh, this was stupid," and why did they do this? And to me, it's like, well, I mean, I understand the side of critiquing it, but at the same time, it's like just go enjoy it and enjoy what that artist put out there. And you might not love it as much as another thing, but love it for what it is and enjoy it and get into the wonder of it.
Yeah,
and I think we're able to do that as kids.
Yeah, whereas for an adult, that has to be like a conscious choice. It has to be almost a skill that you curate the ability to meet art where it's at instead of bringing
or you can just
too
be
much
stupid, and that works too. Yeah.
I mean, I guess so, but I'm pretty sure I meet that qualification, and I'm not good at meeting art where it's at all the time. So I don't think that's the one that does it.
I don't think so.
So obviously, if you read Aragon when you were a teenager, you've been a fantasy reader for a long time. Do you have any other, big foundational projects from that age that you remember that led you here?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up reading. I mean, the first books that I grew up reading, like as novels, I don't remember how old I was. I feel like I was like 5 or 6. Like I was really started reading really young. I would read Star Wars books with my mom, and we'd read. Yeah, like I don't remember what they're called, but there's one about like all the kids, like the Jedi Academy or something like that. I'd read those ones as a kid. So my mom and I would read a page, and we'd sort of read out loud one page and one page, and then she kind of gave up reading that with me once I would get ahead in the book, like 4 chapters.
You left her behind.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
You're on your own now.
Yeah. Have fun, kid. Yeah, and then I guess you just never did. You ever stop reading science fiction and fantasy?
Yeah, no, I think
been the whole time.
I think there's been times where I haven't read as much. But like especially I think probably late teens, early 20s, I kind of slowed down or stopped reading a lot of books. But picked it back up sort of, I don't know, when I was probably 22 or 23. So I think, go ahead.
I was going to say, it seems like a lot of people have a little dry patch as they're coming into adulthood and have to decide who they want to be.
I think the big ones I grew up reading that I kind of foundational to me was probably like Forgotten Realms, like they called the Drizzt ones. I read all those with, and then the
that's
Dragonlance is a big one.
Salvatore.
Salvatore.
Okay.
Yeah, those are huge ones that were my favorite books for a lot of years. And Dragonlance. Dragonlance I think I read first, but I think the ones that impacted me more were Forgotten Realms. I mean, Aragon was there. I'm trying to think of other ones that were like really, really, really my favorites, but I think Forgotten Realms would have been the biggest one.
Yeah,
there were
a lot of those
early
too.
Teenager.
Like he was really prolific. If I'm picturing the right.
Yeah, there was like I think I read probably like 16 of them or so. I don't remember how many there were back then.
You're Canadian, right? So this was all happening in a chapters.
No, it was the library for me. I would get them all in the library. Okay. Yeah, I didn't spend money on books.
I mean, like Kohl's, all the other bookstores. I mean, they're all gone now. I can't remember what.
Yeah, I remember Kohl's for sure.
I
don't know what the current ones are even. I live in Mexico now, so it's
that's why it's so sunny and bright. From your window, it is not like that
here right now or something.
Yeah.
I'll show off. Look at
my God.
Wait, can you even see that? Look at that palm trees right at the window.
That's some bullshit.
Man, it is snow. Foggy. Yeah, it's like that really dense fog today where like it was super cold yesterday, but it's supposed to rain tonight, and it's just like, I kind of hate you and your palm trees now, but sorry. We were so close, and now I don't know.
Yeah. Now we don't like you anymore.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Where are you guys in Canada? Are you both in Canada?
Yeah. He's in the Toronto area, and I'm in Ottawa, so it's like
so you're not in real Canada then.
Wow.
Real Canada.
Okay.
No, you're not in real cold Canada.
No, not here. I'm not far enough.
It's cold in Ottawa. I don't know what you're talking about. No. We go down to like -40 in February.
All right. Okay.
I mean, I guess there's a lot of places that are colder, but you don't even remember, right?
I'm just being a cold elitist. I'm from Saskatchewan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair. All right. I take back.
We have almost 3 centimeters of snow out there in some patches.
Yeah. It's kind of wild how different it is between Toronto and Ottawa, but yeah, you win.
Mm-hmm.
You win.
Yeah.
In
That's actual cool.
Yeah.
Is it true? I'm completely acclimatized though. Like I go back and it's like,
oh, I bet
I can't at 21 degrees in the house and in my parents' house, and I'm like,
is it true that this is something people in Ottawa say? It's like in Saskatchewan and Alberta, it's so cold that if people go to the movies, they leave their car running the whole time, or else the engine won't start once they're done. And it just like it's one of those urban legends that went around when I was a kid.
I haven't
now I need to
ever
know
done that, so I don't.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, it's. I don't think it's like when you.
Right.
No, I don't. That's never been the issue. It's usually when it's overnight. That definitely, like if you leave your car overnight without like plugging it in the block heater, then it will not start.
We have block heaters too. I don't know. People are weird.
I've never done that, so I don't know.
Rumors. I don't know why we spread these weird rumors about the cold, barren wastelands of Alberta and Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it's true. That's why I moved though.
Yeah, that is fair. You got the hell out of there.
Yeah,
Saved yourself.
It's too much.
Yeah.
And on that note, now that we don't like him anymore, let's end this episode.
Yeah, get rid of him. We were going to have him for 2 episodes, but I don't know. He has nice weather.
Thank you for joining us, and hopefully I'll hang around and maybe we'll record another one, and that would be great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, dude.
Thank you very much for coming by, Jeff, and we'll be back.
For sure. Thanks, guys.